Senator Dizik.
Mr. President, I move that further proceedings under the roll call be dispensed with and the Sergeant at Arms be instructed to bring in the absent members.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Members, will you stand? Today's chaplain is Reverend Jennifer McNally from the St. Anne's Episcopal Church in West St. Paul. Members, and following the prayer, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We stand on hallowed ground. The work of this gathered body is sacred. The trust placed in you is holy. May you be open today to the ideas and beliefs of the other. May you be respectful of differences. May you look at one another and see possibility. May you listen to hear rather than to respond. May you have the strength and courage to seek commonality. May you speak with clarity and insight. May you interact with patience and kindness, remembering we all carry our own fears and uncertainties. May you thirst for justice and strive for peace. May you find joy in your work and in your hearts. We stand on hallowed ground. The work of this gathered body is sacred. The trust placed in you is holy. May the Holy One of many names bless the great state of Minnesota and these United States of America. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, members. The Secretary will take the roll.
Abler, Anderson, Barr, Bolden, Carlson, Champion, Coleman, Swadzinski, Dames, Dibble, Dornick, Draheim, Drazkowski, Duckworth, Diedzik, Eichhorn, Farnsworth, Fateh, Friends, Green, Grunhagen, Gustafson, Hoschild, Herr, Hoffman, Housley, Howe, Jasinski, Johnson, Klein, Coran, Kroon, Kunish, Kupek, Lang, Latz, Liskey, Limmer, Lucero, Mann, Marty, Matthews, Mayquaid, McEwen, Miller, Mitchell, Mohammed, Morrison, Murphy, Nelson, Umuver Baton, Pappas, Pa, Port, Pratt, Putnam, Rarick, Rasmussen, Rest, Seeberger, Utke, Weber, Wiesenberg, Westland, Westrom, Wickland, Zhang.
Members, pursuant to Rule 14.1, the following members intend to vote under Rule 40.7, Wickland, Bloomington, Minnesota. Members, a quorum is present. Members, starting with the Senate agenda, we will start at the second order of business, executive and official communications. The following communications was received. Please make note. No action is required. Moving to the third order of business, messages from the House. The Secretary will read the message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following Senate file herewith returned. Senate File Number 33, a bill for an act relating to public safety, appropriating money to the Office of the Attorney General to provide legal services for enhanced criminal enforcement and related initiatives. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
No action is required. The Secretary will read the next message.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the passage by the House of the following House files herewith transmitted. House File Numbers 121 and 90. Signed, Patrick D. Murphy, Chief Clerk, House of Representatives.
Again, member, no action is required. We'll now proceed to the fourth order of business, first reading of House bills. The House files have been given their first reading and referred as indicated. Moving to the fifth order of business, report of committees. Senator Diedzik for a motion to adopt the committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that committee reports printed in the agenda and the addendum be adopted, and I ask for a roll call vote.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Any discussion? The Secretary will take the roll. Senator Morrison, for those voting under Rule 40.7.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Wickland.
Senator Wickland votes aye. All those having voted that desires to vote, the secretary will close the roll. There have been 48 ayes and 14 noes. The motion prevails. Members, we are now moving to the sixth order of business, second reading of Senate bills. The secretary will read the Senate file number.
Senate file number 279.
The Senate file has been given its second reading. We will now move to the seventh order of business, second reading of House bills. The secretary will read the House file numbers.
House file numbers 28 and 50.
The House files have been given their second reading. Members, we are proceeding to the eighth order of business, the introduction and first reading of Senate bills. The bills listed on today's introduction calendar are given their first reading and referred as indicated with the following changes. If you want to follow along, please go to page 5. Senate File 1391 has been referred to the Committee on Human Services. You can also go to page 6. Senate File number 1406 is referred to the Committee on State and Local Governments and Veterans. As I mentioned, members, the bills listed on today's introduction calendar are given their first reading and referred as indicated. Members, we are now proceeding to the ninth order of business, motion and resolutions. We will adopt the author's motions as one motion. All in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Hoffman for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I move that Senate File 747 be withdrawn from the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy and be re-referred to the Committee on Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate, Mr. President. Thank you.
And Senator Hoffman, as usual, is this your bill, and has both chairs consented to this request?
Thank you, Mr. President, for that question. The answer is yes and yes.
Senator Hoffman moved that Senate File 747 be withdrawn from the Committee on Environment, Climate, and Legacy and re-referred to the Committee on Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Remaining on the motions and resolutions, Senator Dizik.
Mr. President, I move to take up the confirmation calendar.
On that motion, all in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Rest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the report from the Committee on Taxes reported January 23rd, 2023, pertaining to appointments be taken from the table.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Rest.
Mr. President, I move that the foregoing report be now adopted.
Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Rest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that in accordance with the report from the Committee on Taxes, January 23rd, 2023, the Senate having been having given its advice, do now consent to and confirm the appointment of the Department of Revenue Commissioner Paul Marquardt. I'd like to speak to the motion.
To that motion, Senator Rest.
Thank you, Mr. President. Paul Marquardt, who is a friend to many of us, was appointed by Governor Walz to serve as Commissioner of the Department of Revenue from January 2nd, 2023 through January 4th, 2027. Mr. President, I'll wait for other conversations going on to cease before I continue.
Senator Rest.
Commissioner Marquardt was a member of the House of Representatives for 22 years until 12/31/2022. He is the immediate past chairman of the House Tax Committee. He also chaired the House Education Finance Committee and the House Property Tax Division during his time in the House. Before being elected to the legislature, he served as mayor of Dilworth for 11 years and a city council member for 2 years. He is a social studies teacher at Dilworth Glendon Felton High School. Commissioner Marquardt received unanimous support during the Tax Committee's confirmation hearings. We received letters of support from such groups as the Minnesota Farmers Union and two noticeable comments made about Commissioner Marquardt during the committee. First, Senator Nelson, and again, I'm going to ask for, I'm being distracted by conversations, Mr. President.
Members, will you please take your conversations off the floor? The author is being distracted.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Rest.
Senator Nelson mentioned about him, Governor, or in commenting on a comment by Commissioner Marquardt. She asked about what he saw as his role as administrator of taxes and the governor's agenda. And Commissioner Marquardt replied, Governor Walz appointed me. I directly report to the governor, and I'm head of the department to make sure the laws of this state are enforced fairly. When the budget comes out, it's my job to promote the tax portions of that bill and present his values before the committee. Senator Drazkowski quoted or said, Commissioner, you're the perfect pick for Governor Walz for this position. What you said about bipartisan work is 100% true. You and I have worked very well together. I'm very glad he picked someone from rural Minnesota. Mr. President, that concludes my remarks.
Senator Weber.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the minority lead on the Tax Committee, I would certainly like to endorse the nomination of Commissioner Marquardt. Having worked with him the past 2 years as I chaired the Property Tax Subcommittee, having served with him on the Conference Committee, Commissioner Marquardt has proven to be an individual that is willing to sit down and talk about differences that there may exist between the two of you. Yes, we will have differences, but I believe that with his role for 22 years in the legislature and as a mayor, which we all understand in this body, being a mayor qualifies you to do a number of different things, that he will indeed be a commissioner that understands the legislative process, that respects the legislative process, and I believe that we should all vote for his approval. Thank you very much.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of the confirmation of Commissioner Paul Marquardt. He has served honorably. He's incredibly talented, informative. understands taxes, which are not a simple thing to understand. But most importantly, in my work with then House Tax Chair Marquardt, when I was chair of the Senate Taxes Committee, I found him not only to be knowledgeable and incredibly qualified, I also found in Chair Marquardt that he is a friend of the taxpayer, and he also listens to differences of opinion and looks for constructive ways to bridge those differences of opinion. I think that is something that is greatly needed in our state. I think he exhibits those qualities, and I encourage a green vote for Commissioner Paul Marquardt.
Senator Ress.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just so we can show our unanimous support for Commissioner Marquardt, I request a roll call.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Any additional discussion? Senator Ress moved that in accordance with the report from the Committee on Taxes, January 23, 2023, the Senate, having given its advice, do now consent to and confirm the appointment of Paul Marquardt. The Secretary will take the roll. Senator Morrison, for those voting under Rule 40.7.
Mr. President, Senator Wickland votes aye.
Senator Wickland votes aye. Members, please vote. Members, please vote. All those having voted that desires to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There have been 64 ayes and 0 nays. The motion prevails, so the appointment was confirmed. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the report from the Committee on State and Local Government and Veterans, reported January 26, 2023, pertaining to appointments, be taken from the table.
On that motion, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails. Senator Murphy.
Further, I move that the foregoing report now be adopted.
On that motion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevailed. Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that in accordance with the report from the Committee on State and Local Government and Veterans, January 26, 2023, the Senate, having given its advice, do now consent and confirm the appointment of Commissioner Alice Roberts Davis.
On that motion, Senator Murphy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members. I am pleased to give my full support for Commissioner Alice Roberts Davis as the Commissioner of Administration. Commissioner Roberts Davis has served in the Department of Administration since 2015 and as the Commissioner since 2019. She came to the work of the administration following a 20-year career at Target Corporation, working on business development and property development and procurement. For 4 years, she has brought her able leadership to this work at the Department of Administration. The Department of Administration has a diverse portfolio of services ranging from contracting to data practices, sustainability of historic preservation, and Commissioner Roberts Davis is able to effectively manage all aspects of the work of the Department of Administration, which is often hidden from view but critical to the service of this government. I am proud to support her and in this important work. She is managing a more than $500 million budget that deals with our properties, our fleets, the Capitol grounds, state procurement, things like PPE, and so much more. More importantly, she is a problem solver, she's a relationship builder, and she is an ethical leader. She earned the support of our committee, and I'm asking for your support today to confirm this commissioner. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, Senator Murphy moved that in accordance with the report from the Committee on State and Local Governments and Veterans, January 26, 2023, the Senate now, given its advice, do now consent to and confirm the appointment of Alice Roberts Davis. On that motion, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion prevails, so the appointment is confirmed. Seeing nothing else, members, we will now go to the 13th order of business. Announcements of Senate interest. Without objection, the following senators will be excused from today's session: Coleman and Lang. Any additional discussions? Any other announcements of Senate interest? Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And colleagues, we had a welcome from Senator Housechild earlier this week, inviting all of you to participate in St. Louis County Days and Duluth Days. And I wanted to just remind all of you that there is a grand reception tonight, starting at 4:30, going until 8 o'clock. Where the Duluth and St. Louis County Days will be gathering there. We're going to have lots of people from St. Louis County who came down and made the drive down to our capital to talk with all of you, to celebrate some of the wonderful things that we have happening up north. And so I wanted also to re-extend that invitation to all of you from myself, Senator Housechild, and Senator Farnsworth as well, to please join us this evening. We look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you.
Any other announcements of Senate interest? Seeing none, Senator Dizik.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate do now adjourn until tomorrow, Thursday, February 9th at 11 a.m.
On that motion, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion to adjourn prevails. The Senate is now adjourned.